A very good afternoon. You're watching Mad About Markets this Monday afternoon. You know what this show is all about. Your portfolio, your stocks, your queries. If there's any stocks that you hold or would like to buy or perhaps sell, not quite sure, this is the place you want to call us or email us. We'll give you those addresses in just a bit. But let me also just tell you that joining us on the show tonight, this is a very special show. It is all about the Coal India IPO that has opened for subscription this morning. So we've got one of our guests in studio especially to talk about that IPO. We've been getting a lot of questions to do with whether you should be subscribing to it or not, what kind of returns you can expect to be making on that IPO. That's what we're going to be addressing, apart from all of your other stock queries as well.
What we also have is Vijay from Hyderabad on the line with us. Vijay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Bataiye, sir, your query is about Coal India?
Yes, sir.
And anything specific that you wanted to get into, or just with regards to subscribing or not?
Just an investor, sir.
You're an investor. Would you be holding it for the long term?
Yes, sir. Long term.
Fair enough. Arun, let me come to you with this. You're our specialist today on Coal India. Now, of course, biggest IPO ever as far as the country is concerned and things like that. But a lot of people have put out a subscribe rating. There are a few analysts I've seen who are not too keen on the issue. They have, they said, let it list, let's see what happens. There might be selling pressure at the top once it lists and you could possibly buy back. How does it look to you for to advise an investor like Vijay who's saying that he's subscribing and then wants to hold on to it?
Let's look at it in three different ways. Say if you subscribe, what does it mean for an investor? I'm talking about the retail investor who's investing 1 lakh of rupees, which is the upper limit. The government is giving you a 5% discount, which means 12 rupees.
Okay.
The grey market premium currently is in the region of 30 rupees, which means the listing, the effective price becomes 275.
Sure.
So if you take your cost 245 minus discount of 12 rupees, you are getting 12 rupees discount and you're getting 30 rupee premium, which means 42 rupees per share. Let's knock off, for simplicity's sake, 15-16 rupees from this price and assume that the price on listing would be just in the region of 260. It still means you're getting a neat 27 rupees per share.
Absolutely.
Assuming 3 times oversubscription in the retail category, you still get 133 shares, which means 3,600 on an investment of 1 lakh of rupees for 12 days.
Fair enough.
It's a huge return.
Absolutely.
Now this is as far as listing is concerned. Let's look at it. Why the foreigners like this business? The demand for coal is much more than what the supply is available. Coal is in sort of a scarcity, if I could say, looking at the power projects that are there. Coal India is typically supplying coal at about 55% discount to international prices of similar grade of coal.
Now, this is based on government regulation.
No, this is not based on government regulation. This is based on their cost of production and what they are selling.
Which is the lowest in the world, if I'm not
mistaken. It's the lowest in the world.
Fair enough.
So there is an upside which can happen as we go forward, that the prices of coal can actually rise in this country, bringing about better revenue for this company. So you have a very nice or a sweet spot, if I could say. You have an industry which is in perpetual short supply. The demand seems to be outstripping supply by maybe two times. So what else could an investor want?
Fair enough.
So it makes great sense to apply for the issue. As far as holding on is concerned, it's purely the investor's choice. But if you're getting 3,600 rupees as a Diwali gift, this share would be listing on the 4th of November, which is one day prior to Muhurat trading.
Absolutely.
So it starts off the festival week with a bang.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, Arun, there are also, certain assumptions, of course, that you're working with. Everyone is very gung-ho about the entire issue, but there are bound to be certain concerns, at least, that, might be at the back of your mind, say to do with the kind of productivity that Coal India has or whatever. Would you want to list out some of those just to caution people, or do you think...
Well, absolutely. I mean, you've put it very nicely. Of course, Coal India has its concerns. It is a government organization. There are labor-intensive. Coal mining itself is fraught with danger. And probably in the last 2 months, we have heard incidents, one which happened in China and one which happened in Chile. Not necessarily with coal mining, but mining has its risks. However, on the positive side of even this factor is that Coal India has actually been reducing its workforce, and in the last 3 to 4 years they have been able to knock off somewhere between 50,000 and 60,000 people. Yet their productivity overall has gone up. They are increasing production by about 7% every year. Yet again, there is one other factor which supports their case. That is, even though coal blocks have been given to private parties, hardly any production has started coming from them. And it seems they are far behind in what they were supposed to do. And the entire burden falls back on the government PSU.
Now, you've also listed for us, exactly how much of a gain one is expecting to make in the next few days once the issue lists. What would your strategy be here? Would you want to sell out completely and just be happy with those listing gains? Would you want to keep the entire stock that is allocated to you for the long term? Or would there be some kind of a trade-off in the middle,
Well, to make a strategy for the general investor, for me, would be very, very difficult. It depends on one individual. We have seen a lot of issues listing. We had about, I think, 12 or 13 listings in the last 15, 20 days. Very few of them have given returns. So if somebody is making this kind of a return and he wants to encash it, I don't think we should stop him from doing it, because let's understand this is going to have large liquidity. The issue is for about 63 crore shares. So there'll be plenty of liquidity post-listing. And it all depends whether the foreigners take a fancy to the stock post-listing or they don't take a fancy. I think the fact that we are seeing 15,000 crore IPO already subscribed to the extent of about half in the first couple of hours on the opening day is positive news for such a big IPO. So without trying to strategize for an individual, it offers opportunity for every type of investor. He wants to book profits, take home his money. He gets that opportunity. He wants to stay invested. He can put in a stop loss for the share and then decide what he wants to do. I think we should leave it to the individual, but it offers an opportunity to every type of investor.
Fair enough. And there you have it. In case you have any more detailed queries about Coal India, feel free to get in touch with us. More than happy to have it replied. Arun is with you answering specifically those queries. There is an email from Farid from Hyderabad who says, I want to know if I should invest in Axis Bank at the current price. Simple enough a query. Abhishek, let me come to you with that. Axis Bank current price, it's been on a tear. It's been one of the leaders in the banking rally. Right now, would you say buy or avoid?
I would say just wait for some time. You see, we are at a position where market has shown some sort of correction in the past couple of days, where I would see that, we are into a result season. So one should see the results first and then see where we can enter. As far as the long-term prospect of the banking sector itself is concerned, is fabulous. On the private space, Axis Bank looks fantastic. Again, FI is darling, possibly as an overall sector. We have seen return also fabulous, about 200% return in a span of 18 months as a sector return. So overall the risk is less, but I would say that wait for the results, see the kind of growth we are seeing in the earnings and then take a call.
Now that's for someone who is thinking about buying it, but someone who already has it, would you say hold or it would be hold?
Absolutely hold. There is no reason for the stock to be sold.
All right, it's a hold on the fundamental side. Hormuz, I want to check with you on Axis Bank as well. We've got a lowering of ratings, at least from Nomura on Axis Bank today. They've got it from a buy to a neutral right now. What would you say if you're reading the charts of Axis Bank?
I would say it's a certain hold. I think, long-term trend is an uptrend. As long-term support is around 1450, which is not very far. So there you have a considerable level of safety. And I think regardless of ratings, whatever, as long as we are in a bull market, I think stock is going to rise. And I think it's one of the better performing banks, so I think no reason to sell the stock. I think one should certainly hold on to it, and even if one is waiting to buy, I think below 1450 it becomes a good stock to buy.
Fair enough. That's as far as Axis Bank is concerned. Anybody has any Coal India IPO questions, you can of course call us 40987300, or you can simply email us or message us, ma'am, at utvmoney.com, or 59995 is where you email us.
And before we go, just a quick mention of the fact that HDFC results are also out. The net profit figure is what we have right now. 808 crores is what it's come at for the second quarter. The expectation was one of 773 crores, so that one is definitely above expectations. We'll get you more details of those results on the other side. We'll be right back.
And that, of course, was the L&T management talking to us about their results, their quarterly results. They seem to have done fairly well. They have beaten the street. Net profits up 32% at 765 crores. Net sales up 18% at 9,260 crores. And we're talking about a current order book of 115,000 crores. We will calculate the number of zeros in that a little later. Right now, we will go over again to the Coal India IPO. We had a query earlier from Dr. Sheshu. Let me come to you with this, Arun. Interesting query. He was comparing it to NMDC. Should he be looking at NMDC as a whole with already listed good numbers, all of that, or should he be selling his NMDC shares and applying in Coal India? Essentially, is it that much better than NMDC is probably his query?
Well, he has actually two parts to the question. I think we should understand that NMDC was an FPO, and because less than 1% of the stock was actually a free float, the price to which it had gone up was a ridiculous price.
Absolutely.
And when the government priced the FPO, they could not get the right price.
Absolutely.
As far as Coal India is concerned, it's a fresh offer, and it is being priced at a multiple of between just about 15 times its FY10 earnings. It's a fair valuation, and the advantage that this company has over other large coal players is that its sheer size, its reserves, and the fact that it is in a market where, like I said, the demand-supply mismatch works in its favor.
Fair enough.
So I don't think that there can be any comparison between NMDC and Coal India. They are just two different companies.
Absolutely. That's how we're looking on. And your pure take on that is, one way or the other, it is clearly an issue to subscribe to.
Absolutely, it's an issue to subscribe, and retail investors, like I said, very clearly there is money on the table for them.
Absolutely, cannot argue with that fact. That's about all the time we have right now on the...
We'll go back to this press conference, but after this break.
IPO grown by 11%.